Why is your mortgage rate still 6.5% when everybody was telling you that it's supposed to come down? The answer isn't the Federal Reserve or the US government, but rather it is Japan. For the last few decades, Japan was the largest source of cheap money for the American government, which was the reason why you had such a low mortgage rate. But that's about to flip because inflation in Japan is rising, the Japanese central bank is raising the interest rate, and that means that the cost of borrowing money in America is about to skyrocket, not just for the US government, but for you as well. So while everybody is busy watching what the Federal Reserve is going to do, whether the Fed is going to raise the interest rate, the real reason why mortgage rates are about to go even higher is Japan. What people don't realize is that there is literally one pool of money where people borrow money. So on one side, you have people who actually have money. So these are investors, pension funds, basically anyone with money. On the other side, you have the US government, which raises the money in forms of government bonds. Then you have companies who borrow money in form of corporate bonds. You might have heard that Oracle raised $40 billion. Elon Musk's SpaceX recently raised about $20 billion. And then there is you, who is also trying to borrow money to buy a house in form of a mortgage or maybe an auto loan or credit card loans. So all of you are basically or essentially fighting for the exact same pool of money. And investors on the other side are basically looking at you and are making a decision based on the risk and reward. The riskier the investment is going to be, the more they would want out of your investment. So if you look at this pyramid, you will realize that the government is at the top of the pyramid and the government is the safest investments out of them all. So the government will be able to borrow that money at the lowest possible rate. Let's say it is going to be 4%. Then goes the companies. Let's say Amazon borrows money. Now ask yourself a simple question. Who is less riskier to loan money to, Amazon or your friend? Of course, Amazon. The company makes like billions of dollars or hundreds of billions of dollars. Well, if you look at your friend, he might lose his job, maybe he's going to get sick, God knows what's going to happen to him. So Amazon will be able to borrow money, let's say at 6%. Then comes you, and because you are the riskier out of the all, you will be able to borrow money at 6.5%, maybe 7%. And that's how the system works. So if you want to understand how Japan is going to make your mortgage much more expensive, you have to understand how that is going to impact the government. But how Japan even became the largest source of cheap money for America in the first place. If you look at the Japanese economy, it was one of the fastest growing economies back in the 1970s and 80s. And then it turned into a bubble and the entire economy collapsed. The first thing that happened is that prices started to go down. That's called deflation. Now we have massive inflation where prices are rising so fast. Japan had the opposite. That's when prices go down so fast. When something like that happens, the Central Bank of Japan instantly intervenes and it makes the cost of borrowing so cheap that it's going to encourage people to borrow money. When people borrow and they spend, that's when you create inflation. So when you look at the Japanese GDP, you can see that it has been falling since 1990s. That's because there was deflation. Instantly, in 1997, the Japanese central bank lowers down the interest rates to 0.5%, and then it goes down to literally 0%. So the cost of borrowing money essentially became zero, so because Japan had deflation. Now, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a Japanese pension fund. A pension fund is the Social Security fund. So this is the corporation that takes the money from your taxes and then it pays pensions to the retirees. So the job of this pension fund is basically make sure that the money they're collecting from taxes is invested somewhere so that it generates interest so that the pension fund will be able to pay for these retirees. If these investments are not generating any money or whatsoever, then the pension fund is going to go broke. So let's assume for a moment that you are the CEO of this pension fund and you're looking at two options. On one option, you can take the taxes collected and invested in the Japanese bond and you're going to receive 0.1%. Is that a lot of money? Well, I don't think so. So you look at this option and you realize that there is no way you can pay the retirees by making this investment. So you start looking outside Japan and you look at all of these countries in the world. You see Germany, the UK, the United States, and you realize that look at the US bond market. First of all, it is the world's largest economy. Secondly, it is the most liquid economy. Thirdly, it pays significantly more than the Japanese bonds, and they pay like 5%. Instantly, you realize that you want to invest in the US government bonds instead of the Japanese bonds. And that's why so much investments out of Japan came to the United States. These are the Japanese banks, the Japanese pension funds, the Japanese insurance companies, and so on and so forth. That's why today, Japan holds about $1.2 trillion of the US treasuries. But now the next question is that when everybody wants to loan money to the US government, the US government can now borrow that money at a much lower interest rate because everybody is trying to loan his money to the US government. And that's why the cost of borrowing money for the US government drops significantly. And if it goes down for the government, suddenly it goes down for everyone else in the economy. And that's why starting from around 2008 or even I would say early 2000s, the cost of borrowing money in America has fallen substantially to the point where back in 2020 and even before 2020, the cost of borrowing money was so low that everybody could afford a very affordable mortgage. But it wasn't just Japan. China was loaning money to the US government, the UK, and all other nations in the world. Today, about $10 trillion of the total US debt is being held by foreign nations. But that's about to flip. Inflation in Japan has gone from negative to 4.3% by 2023. So this is the highest inflation since 1981. And since then, Japan has been having healthy inflation, and now inflation is almost 2%. Now, the Bank of Japan no longer has to keep interest rates artificially at around 0% to create an inflation because there is already an inflation. And now let's go back to the example where you are the CEO of a Japanese pension fund. You look at the Japanese 10-year government bonds and you realize they pay you about 2.8%. But of course, that's not the real return. The real return is how much the yields are paying you minus inflation. Inflation in Japan is about 1.7 or 1.8%. So the real yields right now are 1.9%. And then you look at America and you can see that, wow, America is paying you 4.7% or 4.8%. But inflation in America is about 3.5%. So the real yields are about 1.8%. Suddenly, there isn't literally a huge difference between how much you can get from America and from Japan. Even though that the real yields in the US are as much as they are in Japan, they're exposing themselves to the exchange rate. Imagine for a moment that $1 equals 100 Japanese yen. A year from now, let's say that the Japanese yen strengthen. Now the $1 is going to equal 80 Japanese yen. So even though that you have made the exact same 2% in the United States, when you convert these dollars into yen to pay to the retirees, now a single dollar will be 80 yen because the Japanese yen has strengthened. Even if you end up making less money in Japan compared to the United States, but that number is very close, it makes much more sense to keep investing in Japan. And this is not something hypothetical that might happen sometime in the future. That is already happening. Japan has already sold $30 billion of US treasuries just in the first quarter of this year. But this is the tip of the iceberg because the real problem is way worse than you can imagine. Japan doesn't have to sell its US treasuries in order to push the yields in the United States to rise. When you look at a bond is a piece of paper which represents the debt. And whenever there is debt, it has two things. It has a yield, which is how much this debt is essentially paying. And secondly, it has a maturity date, which means that you have to pay back the loan. Let's say that the yield pays 5% and the maturity period is 1 year. So 1 year from now, the debt is going to expire and the US government has to pay. The US government expects everyone to take their money and instantly buy back the exact same bond because why would you actually sell your bonds in the first place when you're making so much money from the United States? So it expects Japan to keep refinancing that money back into the United States. But now as we realize that it no longer makes sense for Japan to do that, which means that Japan doesn't actually have to sell $1.2 trillion of the US treasuries and crush the US market. All Japan has to do is not to reinvest that money back into the United States when that debt will start slowly maturing. Because the US government never pays off its debts, now the US government has to find new buyers to replace Japan and buy those US treasuries. And because Japan is the largest holder of the US debt, it holds about $1.2 trillion, now the US government has to find someone else who is going to buy $1.2 trillion of the US debt over the next couple of years, which means that the US government has to offer higher yields to attract investors to buy the US bonds. And if we go back to the exact same example of how the bond market works, if the US government will offer a higher yield, let's say 5% or maybe 6%, what do you think is going to happen to the mortgage rates? They will rise as well. The interest rates on auto loans will also rise as well, because this is how the bond market works. But it gets even worse. Because there is a war in the Middle East, in Iran, that is pushing energy prices to rise. And because Japan literally imports 95% of its energy from the Middle East, it guarantees that there is going to be massive inflation in Japan as long as there is war going on in the Middle East. Secondly, the United States needs more debt than ever because there are multiple crises. It has to fight this war in Iran. It has to support Ukraine. It has to fight China when it comes to AI. So to finance all of that, the US government has to raise more money than ever, but its largest source of cheap money is walking away, which means that the US government has to offer even more interest rates to attract investors to buy the US debt. But there's some really good news. For some reason, investors don't have a huge appetite for the Japanese government bonds. Whenever investors are buying your bonds, it means that they have to buy your currency. And when they buy your currency, there is demand for your currency, which means that your currency strengthens. But if you look at the Japanese yen in relation to the dollar, you can see that the yen is becoming weaker and the dollar is getting stronger, which means that investors aren't actually buying much of the Japanese bonds. And that might happen for two reasons. First of all, Japan has the highest debt to GDP ratio at 248%. So investors might look at the government of Japan and they're like, so let's not loan our money to the government that has so much debt because it might not be able to pay us. Secondly, there is an energy crisis. Because Japan is relying on the Middle Eastern oil so much, nobody knows what is going to happen if this war is going to continue for another year. Yes, Japan has the largest oil reserves in the world, but those oil reserves will run out sooner or later. But what if by then the war in Iran is not going to stop and the Strait of Hormuz will be closed? What is going to happen to the Japanese economy? But even though that there isn't such a strong appetite for the Japanese government bonds, there is at the same time not a strong appetite for the US government bonds, which means that interest rates or the yields on the US government bonds will keep rising, which means that your mortgage rates will rise and interest rates across the economy. Understanding how that impacts the economy is extremely important. But what is far important is to understand how to use this information to make money. Inside the Investing Academy, I share exactly how these events impact the stock market and which stocks I'm watching, but most importantly, which stocks I'm buying. You can join the Investing Academy using the link in the description of this video.